Principal Profiles with the Altoona Symphony Orchestra.
Hi, I'm Lisa Bontrager, Principal Horn of the Altoona Symphony. I started playing the piano in my family. If you were a child in my family, we all studied the piano. And I can't remember when I started, but I would guess I was about 8 or 9. And I didn't like the piano really very well, but I knew I needed to learn. And then when I could not wait to join the band, and I started the band, and French horn was my first instrument in band, and I started in 6th grade, which is what we did in Michigan, which is where I'm from, and I think I was about 11 at the time. I loved the horn from day one, absolutely loved the sound of it. That's what made me choose it. My dad wanted me to play the trumpet because that's what he played, and the first note I played on the trumpet was a high C, so I think I kind of had a natural ability. And once they tested my ear and steered me towards the horn and said, just play into it once and you'll either love it or you'll hate it. And of course I blew into the horn once and I absolutely loved it, and they talked me into it, and the rest is history. I also thought maybe I wanted to be a nurse, and forget it. Once I started the horn, that was it. I wanted to play the horn every day since then. So music was a big part of my family. Neither of my parents were professional musicians, but it was a large part of our family fabric. We attended church, and hymns were a big part of our family. I had a lot of music teachers on both sides of my family. My dad's sister was a church organist for all of her life, all of her adult life, and she had degrees in music. And my mother had 2 siblings that were music teachers. So I was surrounded by music. My parents were very, very supportive, took me to lessons, found good teachers for me. And if I wanted to go to camps, they made sure that I could go to camps. So I went to Interlochen, which is a very famous arts camp, music camp in northern Michigan, an international camp. I went for 4 summers, and that was a big commitment for my family. It's an 8-week camp. And during the Cold War, my bunk partner was from Romania. So that was a big, amazing experience from a girl that grew up on a dairy farm in central Michigan. So I had a lot of wonderful opportunities thanks to my parents. I love being a musician. I think some of the things that have impacted my life the most about being a musician are the friends. Most of my really good friends are my music friends. And I think of my colleagues at Penn State. Big part of my job is playing in the Pennsylvania Quintet, which is a wind quintet. And I played for that group during my audition at Penn State, which was many, many years ago. I moved to central Pennsylvania to take that job in 1985, and I thought maybe my husband and I thought we'll come for 1 year and we'll see if we like it, and we've been here ever since. And by the way, I joined the Altoona Symphony that year, and Fred Morden invited me to play principal horn, and that's when I began with the Altoona Symphony. I played with the Altoona Symphony for about 5 to 7 years at that point. And then I took a hiatus while we had our family, and I was very busy with babies at home and a really busy career traveling and playing and teaching at Penn State. So I took some years off from the Altoona Symphony. And when my kids got bigger and had busy lives of their own and graduated from high school, I came back to the Altoona Symphony. So I've been back, I think, probably about 10 years now. But back to my experiences, my friends. My Pennsylvania Quintet friends at Penn State include Tony Costa, who is our new principal clarinetist with the Altoona Symphony. It's just amazing to get to play with Tony. His predecessor, Smith Toulson, our clarinetist with the Altoona Symphony for many years, was my colleague also at Penn State. So I've been very blessed with so many good friends. And the other thing that I love about being a musician is the ability to travel. And I play with the Millennium Brass, which is a brass quintet made of musicians from all over the eastern US. And we have played in Greece 5 times, and we've played in Brazil several times. We've played in Germany. So we've played, that's besides a lot of US trips. And it's been thrilling to get to travel that much. And a lot of times I took some of my family members, usually one child at a time, with me. So those memories I'm very grateful for. That's a great part of being a musician. Of course, the reality is lots of practice before any of those trips and before every rehearsal to be ready to go. But it's just to be able to make music then with less anxiety because you're well prepared, and to play with really great musicians is the best part. My job at Penn State is mostly a chamber music job. Besides the teaching, which I love my college students, I love teaching students. We do have a summer camp that includes high school students, so I enjoy them too. But the most of my career has been teaching college students and recruiting college students. So I love that age group, and it's just so fun to see them grow up and watch the changes between 18 years of age and basically 22 years of age, and their maturity musically and otherwise. So that's really a lot of fun. A lot of those students, the best ones, have played alongside me in the Altoona Symphony. A lot of them play assistant horn and sometimes sub when some of our other regulars cannot play, or we need large groups like when we played Bruckner 7. Probably 5 of my students got to play, or former students got to play in that performance. So that's thrilling for me as well. Other groups that I play in also include playing extra with other larger orchestras. So the last concert I played before the pandemic, when everything disappeared from my calendar, was I played assistant principal with the Harrisburg Symphony. So I do sub with the Harrisburg Symphony quite a bit, and I've subbed and played extra with the Baltimore Symphony and the Rochester Philharmonic and the Chautauqua Symphony. So I really enjoy getting to play with larger orchestras too, but most of my playing has been with chamber groups and chamber orchestras. So I play with the Pennsylvania Chamber Orchestra. I have since its inception about 30 years ago, and Penn's Woods Festival Orchestra, and lots of chamber music here in the central Pennsylvania area and otherwise. And another group I play with, which is really different, is the Brass Band of Battle Creek. And if you like brass, you need to look up this group, because it's an anomaly. It's in the style of British brass bands, which is a huge deal in Great Britain and Australia and that part of the world. It's about a 30-piece brass band, and that includes a percussion section. And the difference between our group and a British-style brass band is we also play jazz. And we have some outstanding American jazz artists in our brass band. I've played in this group for over 25 years. It is based in Battle Creek, Michigan, and supported by the Kellogg Foundation. But the musicians come from all over the world. There are at least 5 from Great Britain, and sometimes some from Australia, the West Coast, the East Coast. And I play the British style tenor horn in that group. So it's really different. It fingers with the right hand instead of the left hand on the French horn. It's pitched in E flat rather than F, which the French horn is pitched in, and it has the fingerings of the trumpet rather than the French horn. So besides that, it's the same. It has a different mouthpiece too. The rim, I've had a mouthpiece made so that the rim feels the same on my lips, but it's really different. And every time I get that instrument out to practice, to learn the parts for the new concert, I wonder why in the world I'm doing it again. But then when I sit down with that band, it is like being in another world because the musicians sitting around me are so amazing that I remember why I make the effort. So look it up. It's the brass band of Battle Creek, and their website, I believe, is bbbc.net. But you're in for a treat if you like jazz or you like brass. It's just something fun to check out. I hope you're all having a great day, and look forward to seeing you with the Altoona Symphony, hopefully very soon.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Principal Profiles.